Good afternoon, good afternoon. Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As people sort of take their seats and settle, I'm doing what we call vamping. I'm sort of stalling here. Well, thank you, everybody. Good afternoon. I am Jeff Poulos, Executive Director of Associated Grantmakers. And on behalf of our board and staff, I'd like to thank you all for attending our annual State of the Sector program. And a special thank you, of course, to Mother Nature for giving us at least one day without weather. How lucky we are that today is today and not tomorrow. Well, I've been serving here at AGM now as the Executive Director for 6 months, actually 5 months and 29 days, but who's counting? And in these first 6 months, my initiation has been fast and furious and slow and steady. I think both at the same time. You know what I mean? I suspect that whenever you start a new job, this is what happens and this is what you get. I am in no way an expert in the field of philanthropy. I come from the world of membership associations, and so I'm not up here today to speak to you from the perspective of an expert in philanthropy. But I do think I bring a unique perspective, having been new to the sector in being an observer while also being a participant in the last 6 months. And so I think I'm going to be able to speak from a sort of a slightly different perspective than perhaps you usually hear from. Some of you may have heard that I transitioned from the world of the arts and culture, specifically theater. And I feel like I'm in the first act of a 5-act Shakespeare play. And I'm not quite sure yet whether it's a romance or a tragedy. Well, what have I witnessed over the last 6 months? Certainly, I've been witness to emerging trends and initiatives. What comes to mind in these past few months, recurring themes, or perhaps as we say in the theater, where is the spotlight shining? Well, start with social responsibility in philanthropy. Social responsibility has become visibly more prevalent in philanthropy. Whether it's family or public foundations, private or corporate partners, new ways of doing philanthropy, donors are taking an ever more active role with agencies, with nonprofits and organizations in service, and in some cases, even social entrepreneurial role in addressing issues. Through very high-touch experiences of donors and grantmakers at these nonprofits, the development and investment is taking place in addressing these issues in our communities. Perhaps one of the more high-profile examples of this, the White House has created the Social Innovation Fund, shining the national spotlight on public-private partnerships. Another trend, I hate to use the word trend because it sounds so fleeting and temporary, so it's not quite exactly the right word, perhaps another direction things are headed. I've been witness to is strong and successful donor collaboratives and an interest in creating more. I've been hearing grant makers speak of a deeper engagement and impact by adopting one focus area, be it community organizing, issue-based, or more narrowly defined target population. In these past few months, I've seen the needle moving when work is very focused. In 1 month alone, I'll give you an example, I attended events or had conversations on the 2010 census and reaching hard-to-count populations, homelessness prevention, youth violence prevention, AIDS, Merrimack Valley and economic development, early childhood development and reading, community organizing. Plus, I've seen others doing work around things like healthy aging and addressing childhood obesity. These are just a few of the many examples in just a short period of time in that one out of my 6 months that I've witnessed, and there's so many more. In 2010, we were witness to significant outreach by our sector on the international level as well, particularly in response to crises in Haiti, Chile, Pakistan. A recent report by the Foundation Center said, quote, looking ahead, international grant making appears likely to maintain and possibly increase its share of overall foundation grant dollars. So what will 2011 bring and beyond? Just throwing out some questions and thoughts, and then we have a really terrific program lined up for you for the rest of the day. So 2011. Well, in President Obama's State of the Union address, the President challenged government to keep spending in check and freeze annual domestic spending, quote, to make sure we aren't buried under a mountain of debt. He called for a 21st century government that's open and competent, that lives within its means, an economy that's driven by new skills and new ideas. And he indicated that success in this new and changing world will require reform, responsibility, and innovation. The President reminded us throughout his remarks that as citizens, we do big things. So I've seen the impact, well, we all have been witness to the impact of the difficult economic climate, and the situation is still very resonant and still being felt today. The state budget is projecting a $2 billion shortfall. Cuts in services are sure to be impacted. And will the foundations and grant-making community be asked for more support? For sure. What will be the debate on payment in lieu of taxes? What will that bring to our community? Massachusetts losing a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. Based on recently released U.S. Census data, although we've seen an increase in Massachusetts population by 3%, this is lower than the national average, which is around 9%. How will this impact Massachusetts and federal dollars? What impact will this have on local philanthropy and on the pressures that may be then put upon the service providers? Technology. How are we using them as a sector? Databases, social networking tools, measurement, ratings of philanthropies and charities. These days, technology can be a powerful tool offering great capacity. But coupled with the benefits are challenges. We've been witness to great strides made with growing access to and use of data. What will this mean for our sector as we move forward into 2011? Other issues in our field. Major tax legislation enacted last month reinstates the 2011 IRA charitable rollover, as well as incentives for donation of food and donation of land for conservation purposes. The measure, which also extends for 2 years the 2001 and 2003 income tax cuts, sets the estate tax exemption at $5 million and a rate at 35% for 2 years. How will this impact our community? The Giving Pledge. People have heard about the Giving Pledge, the Gates and Buffett Giving Pledge. How will that trickle down to here in Massachusetts? Who will be involved and how will our sector respond? Today, our sector is an integral part of the solution moving forward. What big things will we be a part of? Where will the public-private intersect take place? And where will you be part of this effort? AGM is honored today and excited to welcome to the stage someone from our own backyard, a living, breathing example of someone who does big things. Just an aside here, several people have approached me today and asked me if they could purchase our guest's book, Big Citizenship, and we don't have it for sale today, but you can certainly find it online. So you can do a search on Big Citizenship and, of course, Amazon.com. And I highly recommend it. It is a great read. So please take a look for the orange book, if you could. When we announced that to just our members and partners that AGM was hosting Alan Casey today to be speaking at the State of the Sector, instantly we filled to capacity and had a waiting list since mid-December. I know you have Alan's bio in your program, but I thought I'd just mention a few points to highlight that I should bring up, and I certainly couldn't be here in this building without mentioning that Alan was he co-founded City Year with Michael Brown in 1987, and the organization has served as a model for AmeriCorps, created under President Clinton. In 2007, Alan launched Be the Change, a nonprofit that creates national issue-based campaigns by organizing coalitions of nonprofits, social entrepreneurs, policymakers, private sector leaders, academics, and citizens. And in 2009, Service Nation, the first campaign to be launched from this platform, played a key role in the enactment of the strongly bipartisan